Yeah. Okay. And when we looked at those principles, so these represent the principles, and if we look at the what we wanted to achieve was to make sure that we had we addressed these principles, governance principles, fully within the implementation. And the ones in green here, we wanted to make sure that we fully worked on these. So data underpinning information acceptable, that people who are accountable are empowered with the right data and authority, etc. Some of these, like the organization has structure, obviously they've had structure already, but we're talking here in terms of the governance aspect and having that information in the right place across that structure. Others that in yellow here are ones that we felt would be addressed partially by what we were doing, but also needed and were things that were being worked on through other initiatives as well. So this just shows what we were trying to address in terms of the big governance principles. And
it makes me think, Chris, we're pretty close with it. It wasn't. It's not a bad model to map back with.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one has to, if we look at this, we're not necessarily talking about implementing strategy. We're talking about the governance aspects. So did the organization have structure? Did it have the things in place? And really, we were talking, it had a lot of this in place already. What we were looking at here is filling this out, particularly with that governance aspect and decision making about data more than anything else. Data, I think, and clarity around, you know, who has a mandate over this, and is this a corporate group thing, or is this a local country thing? Okay. And we could look at how the accountability was spread across the organization. And so this doesn't represent all of the units, but it's grouped some together. So we had at the top level primary governance bodies, the executive, group executive, finance, etc. Sorry, and then some group PMOs overseeing various regions, regional PMOs, and of course operations and operational strategies, etc. And then there were a lot of programs, large programs, running with, of course, all their associated projects. So we had program sponsors, project sponsors, regional PMOs, national country level PMOs, and below that, departmental PMOs, if you like, in some cases. And then, of course, there were the standard business services. So whether those were things like engineering or HR, IT, or whatever, they had projects to support as well. And some of these PMOs didn't exist and had to be put in place. Some existed but needed to be upgraded, and some were there already and just needed better data to work with. Anything to add there, Shuri?
No, I mean, one of the things that I would add here is, you know, the maturity level of the OpCos in establishing these PMOs across the organization. You know, in some of the OpCos are, you know, lack of a lot of processes and things like that. And technically, they are not capable of doing things. So we need to train them. We need to give, you know, take hands with them. We actually conducted a big training session in Kenya, especially for those people who are not up to the level that we are expecting, and gradually took them to the level where we can have a regional PMO in Kenya, and that Kenyan people from Kenya, they support the other opcos in the region. So this is how we actually made it happen, especially in terms of the PMO creation, and from there we could pull the quality data in order to make the decisions by the senior level executives.
Yeah, and I think that's a key thing about the success factor around the approach that you had there is to get everybody up to a minimum level of maturity and make sure that quickly got at least that level of consistency and standards within the data, etc., and then gradually bring everybody up to a higher level to improve the quality. So meant we could get to minimum and better levels quickly across a broad base, and then gradually improve that as we learnt as well. So not just about rolling things out, but also making sure that we learnt what worked and what didn't before we tried to do too much. And the organizational scope there, this maybe gives a better picture. So multiple levels of PMO and entity across multiple countries, departments. This doesn't show all of the departments, or even necessarily all of the countries, but multiple units involved and multiple PMOs rolling out. And in doing this, we had to look at
to engage.
Yeah, at how we engage all of these different units, and how do we get them involved. And there wasn't unanimous opinions across all of these. Maybe Sharif, you can talk us through it a bit.
I don't want to talk about the nasty things that happen in projects. There are a lot of things that happens, which is quite normal because people don't want to change naturally. People,
I think generically,
people will change maybe by force, or maybe by they see that there is no other way, then changing can help them to grow. So there will be a lot of resistance in the beginning, but eventually, we all work together, work through these turbulent environment, and made it happen. And if you ask me how satisfied I am at the end of the day for establishing them, maybe not 100%. There are a lot of areas that could have been more improved than what we have achieved. But it is rather doing things perfectly, or doing things at least for for getting some benefits out of the things. I believe the second option is the best, rather than looking into just for perfection and getting nothing done. So we took that second option, and we tried our level best in order to get the things rolling, and that helped the organization actually, because even though you cannot have a direct correlation between the PMOs and their data, and the decision-making process to the financial success of the organization. But at the end of the day, all the strength between each department and the data, the quality of the data that helped them to take the proper decisions, eventually made them to build an organization with agility, with financial resilience at the time of turbulence. That's actually what happened in the organization.
Can I just chip in here, Chris? I think this slide is just indicates that maybe throughout this program, you did keep tabs on who your supporters and detractors were, and that isn't to be defensive. That's it shows that you were actively looking for the sentiment from people and managing according to the sentiment you found, and dealing with the people aspects of this. People can think of governance as mechanical and just do, but this kind of indicates you were really focused on people's perceptions and whether they were supporters or blockers, and the fact that you have this and thought about it is a really good sign.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's something that certainly we had the sense that Sharif and others were very much focused on that during the whole course of this.